A very warm welcome into the form where we preview the best races with our expert panel, and we're kicking things off with the new year with the Karaka Million meeting. And joining us this week on the form is Leith Innes, Brendan Popplewell up in studio, and Aidan Rodley in Hamilton. And what a meeting we've got to look forward to, team. Here's what's coming up on the agenda. We'll start with our feature preview, the Doubletree by Hilton Karaka Million 2-year-old. What a field we've got assembled there. The Pukekohe features, which is pretty much every race on the undercard, and the best bets to round out the show.
Choo Choo Kaka, a half-week fed front, punched out. Choo Choo Kaka won the classic. Needs the post, Imperatriz lunged, got there. Imperatriz another. I got royalty inside my DNA. I got royalties, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA.
Time for our feature preview. It is the Doubletree by Hilton 2-year-old Karaka Million on Saturday evening. And BP, it is in the evening. What weather and track conditions can we expect at Counties?
Yeah, things are looking great for what is going to be a superb night of racing. Track condition currently around that soft 5. They've had around 15 mils of rain in the last week, but they've also irrigated 7 mils recently. So they're just trying to get it into that sweet spot where by 4 o'clock, that track condition is going to be bang on, and we know that with Jason Fulford, he's one of the best curators going around, so that'll be the art of getting it right for that first race just after 4 o'clock.
Certainly will be. Well, let's have a look at the final field market for you. And as soon as the barrier draws were done, we did see Trobriand come into favourite at $3, Taikyo Tycoon moving out to $5.50. BP, do you agree with that move?
Yeah, I mean, it's an obvious one, isn't it? We were waiting to see which way Opie would go. It was down to barrier draws. Trobriand drew better than Tokyo Tycoon, 6 versus barrier 14, and we saw the move for Trobriand. But overall, I do feel like this is one of the most even races as well. Leith, there's a number of chances, not just in Tangerine as well this year.
Yeah, well, Opie's always made the right decision, and I think this year it's probably the hardest he's had to make. And obviously it's just come down to barrier draws.
Well, let's have a look at the all-important speed map with those barrier draws. Who have you got leading the race, and where do you see the favourites, Leith?
Yeah, Yulanova from barrier 1. She looks like the natural leader. She's led in both her starts, and I can't see them taking a sit this time unless they go too hard from the outside sort of shoes, crossing them, or even she turns heads.
Aidan, do you agree, or can you see anyone else getting up on the speed?
Yeah, obviously Shoes was very keen in that trail last time out, so speaking to Pam Gerard at Track Week on Tuesday morning, they said they'd let her run. Obviously Ulanova with barrier 1 does look to be a key pace for influence in the race, but maybe they'll be content to take a sit. There will be immense speed in this race. I've got the map 4 wide, and with running lines in that 4 wide line too.
Well, let's have a look at some highlights for you leading into this key race. We're going to start with Boxing Day and take you back to Counties here with Taikyo Tycoon winning, and he did it pretty easily too in the NBP, but there was a nice run in behind from Impenda Bell.
Yeah, there's a lot to take away from this race. I thought Impenda Bell, first of all, barrier draw impeded, had to go back and is very good through the line to finish into 3rd position. Tokyo Tycoon, though, did what he needed to do, though. He put the race away, and he did it in good fashion, even though he was still learning his caper while he was out there. And after this day, Leith, you almost suggested, well, this is going to be Opie's ride with how impressive he was here on this day.
Yeah, if he was drawn barrier 6, he's probably going to be a $2.20, $2.40 favourite, and he finds himself, he's going to be jumping from probably barrier 13. Look, he looks an easy horse to ride. He looks push button, and look, I think Craig will be just trying to get in somewhere midfield and get there late.
There were several gallops at Pukekohe on Monday. Here's Tokyo Tycoon on the outside. You've also got Talisker there. Both of these horses working really nicely, as were the majority of the gallops that we did see from Monday. Sam Weatherly doing the riding on Talisker. Then we had Opie Bosson on Taikio Tycoon, and both of them hitting the line really nicely in a good gallop. From that same Pukekohe race, Impenda Bell can't be discounted. They had to go back from a wide draw. I thought her run was first class, and she is a contender in this race.
We now take you to the Group 2 Eclipse Stakes too, where there was that question mark whether or not Trebian could make it 3 in a row, and he certainly did, but there were some eye-catching runs too from another Te Akau runner.
There was, and I mean, Talisker runs everything you want to see in terms of sectionals. The fastest 8, 6, 4 and 2 from a long way back is really rattling through the line. Trebian does what he needs to do in this race, though. He's put in 3 workmanlike performances, hasn't he? He probably hasn't done it purely on the clock and to the eye, but as I said, Leif, he gets the job done at the same time.
Yeah, and Opie was a little bit, easy on him the last sort of 50 metres when he had that race sewn up. Look, he jumped out, put himself there, and obviously Opie's riding a Cressa Vein at the moment as well, so he's worth 2 lengths.
Just around the second horse, I mean, that was eye-catching, wasn't it? I mean, Barrier 7, a chance of maybe being a lot closer to them if possible on the weekend. How do we rate that horse's performance?
Yeah, he was massive. Look, Sam knows him now. They've put blinkers on him as well, so it's come Saturday, it's going to be maybe a sea of orange.
Yeah, like I just thought he looked to be Talisker one of those each-way plays away from those 2 or 3 in the market, and I'm sure people identify him as maybe one of those top 3, top 4 chances, or even winning the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a runner that's going to be trying to spoil the Te Akau party is from Andrew Forsman's stable, and that is Ethereal Star. We're taking you back here to the listed Challenge Stakes. She wins on a heavy 9. Is there any question mark on her on a good track? Does it just show her ability here to win on the surface? Yeah,
look, I think with what she did first up to the races when she was able to perform on a good surface showed that, she, this is all ability here for me, Leif, with what she's been able to do here. She gets through conditions that are in the heavy bracket, but I think she's adaptable, and she's a huge danger in the race with a good draw and Damien Lane aboard.
Yeah, she's, Damien's going to be giving her a gun ride from Barrier 3. She looks like a pretty easy horse to ride. She's, doesn't do a lot on the track, at her track work, but she does look like a top chance.
She's got very good form. She just looks like an up-and-comer and gives Andrew Forsman a chance of winning the Kanaka Million in the same colours that he produced Agon under One Leith Innes to win the Kanaka Million 3-year-old classic. Australian riders to win this race in the past. Craig Williams has got a couple, Michael Rod and Stanthi Kitsidis. We've also got Daniel Stackhouse over here, and he's obviously an Australian-based Kiwi jockey, and he'll be bidding to join Damien Brown, who's won this race as well. But that Aussie influence, very welcome. We love seeing it with us, don't we, Pip?
Oh, absolutely we do. It just brings another interest to Karaka Million night as we have a look at these 2 fillies and an exhibition gallop at Pukekohe. We've got Ethereal Star with Eula Nova. What did you make of the gallop, BP?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's a good hit out for both of them to get round Pookie once again. And Eula Nova, a horse that we will see for the very first time around this venue, of course, with those 2 recent efforts out of Waikato. And a horse that's got the draw and the barrier speed. And really, Eula Nova has her opportunity. She's going to be at a double-figure price. Is she the leader? Is Eula Nova the leader, Leif?
I think she is. It's hard going into 2-yard races, and you go into a $1 million race and think, geez, I'm drawing barrier 1. I might take a sit today. They haven't done it as yet, so I can't see them changing tactics on Saturday.
Yeah, and catching up with Stephen Marshy, was pretty happy that she can see out the 1,200 metres as well, if anyone's got a question mark around that, as we have a look now at Impenda Bell taking out the Group 2 Wakefield Challenge Stakes. And this is what she can do, BP, from a better draw, get handier to the speed.
Yeah, and this is a good win. This is a horse that has, got some guts about it, because look at her push through this gap here and her willingness to then just balance up and go again and flatten out. There's a lot to like about Impenda Bell's win here in the Wakefield. And this is the reason why I think she has to be a serious contender of winning the race. And the key to her run at her next start to the races, Leif, is how she's been able to run from back in the field from a wide draw, hit the line and finish into 3rd position. Those qualities suggest to me, with her good draw on the weekend, that she has to be a contender on the weekend. Yeah,
she's sort of going, out of Wellington. She looked like she was the benchmark sort of 2-year-old. And look, they rode her back and for a bit of luck at Counties. She does seem a little bit better left-handed than right-handed, just to be odd, though.
Okay.
One thing we see from that is that she's beaten home Dapper, who's since been a winner at Pukekohe in the lead up there on the 8th of January. So that form looks good. The first 4 in that race are all heading towards the Karaka Million. And then you've got to be really forgiving of her just from the outside barrier draw, dictating tactics, getting back, but still hitting the line really nicely in behind Tokyo Tycoon. I think she is definitely a win contender.
Well, let's hear from some of the key trainers now. We'll start with Mark Walker, and Aidan just asked him how Trobriand is after his New Year's Day win.
He went to counties, he galloped nicely. He's a funny horse. You wouldn't think he's 3 for 3 the way track works and just his general demeanour. He's such a laid-back sort of a horse, but race day he brings his A game.
Yeah, he's just got that real will to win, doesn't he?
Yeah, especially at Te Rapa the other day, he flattened out really well the last bit, so no, he's going the right way.
Tokyo Tycoon shown an immense amount of ability so far. What have you made of his preparation?
Oh, he's had a really good prep, and I think he had a bit more to offer on Boxing Day, and he went up to counties yesterday and had a look around, and yeah, he's the unknown sort of horse because he just does everything pretty easily, so yeah, he's in the mix for sure.
Just spoken to Sam Weatherly. He's got unwavering faith in Talisker. He thinks he's a really big player. Do you share that?
Well, his run was really good at Te Rapa. His sectionals were very good. He's still a little bit green and a bit new, but I think embellishes really. We've liked his progeny the whole way through, so no, he's in the mix as well, yeah.
He's been going good. Came through his run at Pukekohe a fortnight ago good, so yeah, happy enough.
Yeah, the run had merit. Obviously, the prior form was really encouraging. What sort of abilities has he shown you so far?
Oh, he's got some speed and some natural ability. Used to go a bit fierce early on, so we've sort of changed a bit of gear around. But when he does things right, he's a fair animal.
Yeah, it's been pretty trouble-free, apart from one bad barrier, obviously last start at counties, but we were sort of forced to go back that day. At least she's had a good look around the track, obviously, and stood them a fair start in a pretty slowly run race. They came home sort of mid-33s, so she probably couldn't have finished much closer than she did, so obviously barrier draw is going to be key on Saturday.
I thought her work was really, really good. She needed her run at Te Rapa. She's come on in leaps and bounds, and I thought her work yesterday was top class.
I don't really know. I think we maybe just got it wrong last time, and she likes just to run along a little bit. It'll come to draws and everything like that, but big night, gloves are off. Yeah. It's on for everything, so you need a lot of luck in those. But look, we're just wrapped that we got one in there. Darren, it's great for him and great for all the owners that are put all that time and money into it, and it's just good to get them one there on Karaka Million night.
Well, the all-important draws are out, and it's just added to the puzzle. So it is time for selections. I'll start with you, BP. Who are you liking?
Look, it's not a straightforward exercise, is it? And I guess the default selection for a lot will be Opie Bosson. Opie Bosson has picked Trobriand, and I'm sure that's going to be enough of a reason to say that he's going to be the horse that wins the Karaka Million. And look, he knows how to do it. He's got a good barrier draw, and he's a winner himself, isn't he? But this could be the year where something outside of Tangerine could win it as well, because I think there's enough quality in amongst this field for this year's running. So I think it's probably one of the most even runnings. But after saying all that, I've gone with the default selection of picking Opie Bosson with the good draw and him getting it done with Trobriand on the weekend, Leaf.
Yeah, it's Opie normally doesn't get it wrong. Look, barrier 14's, it's not going to be nice from out there, but I think Craig Zaki, look, he looks like he's a push-button horse, Tokyo Tycoon, and I'm tossing up. There's 3 or 4 that can win, but I think Tokyo Tycoon's the one.
I think it's a clear danger, absolutely. But I'm going to the default, as BP said. Opie Bosson's won each of the last 5 that he's ridden in, so can he make it 6? The market says yes, and just that blueprint says yes. Trobriand unbeaten in 3. He's got a real knack of finding the line. He's got a nose for it, and I think he's the horse to beat, Pip.
Well, we're Team Te Akau here on the form to make it 7 in a row. Whoever wins it, will make sure you're tuning in. Te Abbey Trackside 1 Saturday, race number 4 on the program to find out. Well, it's it's time to have a look at the Karaka Million undercard, and it has not disappointed at all, because we're going to start with the Karaka Million 3-year-old, and look, it's been getting labelled as a match race between Legato and Wild Knight. Now, interesting, she got out to 2.5 yesterday, Brendan. I see she's back into 2.3 with Wild Knight at 2.8. Ooh, do you agree with that, or are you leading somewhere else in that market?
Well, look, first of all, I think this is the race of the night, and it's so good that it's the last race that we can build towards it. At 7:28 to have a race like this between two horses that are right at the peak of their powers. Legato, there's even a boosted price available already around Legato, so she's $2.70, so there's been support for her at $2.30. Gee, I do like Wild Knight's price, and there has been a number of supporters for him already, where he opened, what was it, around that $3.40 mark, and he's now $2.80. Punters have narrowed it down to those two horses. It looks that way, even though there are some really talented 3-year-old types, the like of Sacred Satono, Desert Lightning pushing Pierre in a 2,000 guineas, and Prow Wesley.
Yeah, you know, this is definitely the best Karaka mile race we've seen so far. You know, Prowess is good, Legato, Channel Surfer is still a maidener, and yeah, like, you know, Desert Lightning ran second in the 2,000 guineas to Pierre.
Do you think this is a little bit similar to Amaralina v Agon? Do you feel as though it has that feel about it? And I know you were involved in that race, but what's your thoughts?
It does a little bit, but I think this field's a lot stronger than it was 2 years ago as well.
For me, it's just that top level depth, isn't it? You know, normally we've seen this race have 18 runners that have been full field, but because we've got so much quality at the top of this race, I think it's sort of scared off a few down the bottom, but this really is a quality renewal.
Well, it's over the mile, and both of our favourites have come up with barrier 1 and 2, Leith. They notably go back, if that's where you got the mapping.
Yeah, I think so. IPV uses draw to a point, and you know, if I was Ryan Elliott, I'd be holding right on to Wild Knight's tail the whole race. IP's going to give you a nice drag into it.
And we saw Wessex inject that speed last time at Counties. You've mapped her to do the same?
Yeah, look, she got taken on mid-race and she got going a bit keen. Look, it'd be interesting what horse Andrew wants to lead with. Devastate led it Otaki on an off-track, but Wessex probably looks like the likely leader.
What about you, Aidan? Do you agree with that? Can you see anything else injecting speed, or you agree with Leith?
Yeah, just those couple of barrier draws that really make this race, I reckon. One of those being Legato. Barrier 1, you think, oh, fantastic. But that could be a real trick for them getting clear rear when they need to. And obviously Sacred Satono, who looked to be a key contender into this race as well. I thought he was the third cog in that maybe the head-to-head with the extra one. The barrier draw really probably dilutes his chances to some degree. Prow West is one who should get a really nice run from there.
Well, let's see Legato winning the Group 2 8-carat Classic, and notably, well, the first key point is it is on the track, BP, where she will be taking her place on Saturday, and of course Wessex out in front, who really made a race of things.
It did, and has gone a super race to finish into third position. I think that's a key point to make around here, and makes her a chance in the race again if you're looking at sort of top 3, top 4s, or head-to-heads that are involving Wessex. But everything about the completion of this race is about how Legato wins from an impossible position, and he's very kind. In the last 100 metres is Ryan Elliott. Yeah,
well, halfway down the straight, I know Ryan would have been, you know, he would have been a little bit itchy. Didn't look like she was going to get there, and then she changed his legs, and she's got there by length, you know, and she's gone to, you know, it was a hard run, but she's just a classy filly, isn't she?
Just breathtaking, that performance, and on the clock, incredible what she's run, 45.26 the last 800, but just the way she's closed the race off and kept their unbeaten record, isn't it? These two horses at the top of the book, both winning their last 5.
Well, after she won the Guineas, it almost looked like the Karaka Million could be hers. But this horse is certainly going to spoil the party, Wild Knight, because he just keeps on winning, BP. And again, he's won here at Counties, having to come right down the outside of the field. Yeah,
but look, he certainly has the capability of beating Legato, doesn't he? And look, he is a boy that is in winning form. And he won the Sarton, and of course they didn't go to the 2,000 guineas with him. He's a horse that they really did target this particular race with him, and they were able to target him by going through that first up run where he was potentially going to be vulnerable. This is one of the best 3-year-old races we've seen this season. This is the Uncle Remus in terms of strength And in figures, this race and the Bone Crusher Stakes are two races that have really stood up on numbers, and his run on that occasion, Leith, was super.
Yeah, and he's giving away weight as well, so he's back to set weights this week. He lost the shoe as well this day.
We've had a look at the Uncle Remus and the 8 Carat. So now let's have a look at them side by side from the 1,000-metre mark and just level them up here so you can see such a difference in race tactics, BP, obviously with Wessex way out in front in her race.
Yeah, that's right. And it's interesting too because Alfredson's gone harder in the first 400 metres of the Uncle Remus compared to the 8 Carat. And then you've got Wessex who really, injects it into the race and puts that margin on them. But overall, Leith, there's not much separating with them in terms of you look at their overall sectionals with Wild Knight just being that touch better.
Yeah, exactly. Look, they both came back from off the speed, and look, Wild Knight, there's nothing in the sectionals, and it's going to be interesting where Opie, does he ride his horse colder, knowing that Brian's behind him, or does he just ride his own race?
Yeah, and that's what it's really going to come down to here is small margins. There is only small margins separating them with what they've been able to produce in their most recent victories. And now they're drawn right next door to each other. They're going to be in different positions. How much does Legato concede to others, including her main danger in the race and Wild Knight? And that's where I think, Aidan, is where those small margins are going to be on who wins and who loses this race.
Yeah, absolutely. When you go through what Legato did, outstanding, then you look at what Wild Knight's done. And yes, he hasn't had to go the extra 200 metres, but his performance was absolutely top draw. He just looks like an absolute star. Sacred Satona was very good, and behind him there was other real performances of merit, but wow, what a clash we've got on the night. This is going to be some Karaka Million 3-year-old race.
Absolutely it is, and just adding another thing to this is obviously we're having a look at these two horses, Exhibition and Gallop, together, but they're doing it in track work as well, so it just brings that another aspect, doesn't it, BP?
Yeah, well, this was really well done by those to be able to get these two together in an Exhibition Gallop last week, and a chance to marry the two up as well. And look, there's a lot more to come after what we saw here, but Wild Knight, he did what he needed to do, and he was able to hold her out in an Exhibition Gallop. Yeah,
look, Ryan was pretty easy on Legato. She might not be, she looks like one of those real sort of naturally relaxed sort of mares. But it's probably going to come down to the best ride on the night.
Yeah, just speaking about the riders, I mean, how much does it play into where we have Legato, drawn barrier number 1? Do other riders think and try and ride against to maybe to make sure that she is going to be buried down in the rail and sort of trying to eliminate one of your biggest dangers in the race?
Those people that saying barrier 1's a bad gate, it's never been a bad gate. Even though she's a big scopy filly, it's perfect that Wild Knight's drawn 2, because all Ryan's going to do is, if he can just hold on to Opie's tail, Opie will take him where he wants to go. Yeah.
Well, a filly that is placed behind the likes of Wild Knight is Prow West, and she picked up her own win on New Year's Day here. We'll take you back to the win at Te Rapa, and again, she's always showed this kind of ability when she won at Cambridge on the synthetic, and she was brilliant here. She
was, and look, she's been able to take on the boys and compete. They tested her in the 2000 Guineas. She gained a Group 1 placing in that race, Leith, when finishing into 3rd position. She's a high quality filly that we know that the James and Wellwood Barn have got a lot of time for, and she's drawn well in barrier number 5. She has to be one of those horses that can't be discounted because she does have that class.
Yeah, she was very well ridden this day when Warren won on her. The stable's always rated her, and she's got to be a top 4 chance. Yep.
What about you, Aidan? Can you see her getting into the top 4?
Definitely. What she's done so far, her body of work's been great. She seems to be getting better with each start. Her run at Riccarton was good, a little bit unlucky about getting clear air at a key stage as well. She's come out and got things right in the Group 2 Auckland Guineas. Just in behind it, Dynastic's interesting, isn't he? Chance to emulate Probabile with a Karaka Million win, followed by a Karaka Million 3-year-old classic win the next year.
And he had a nice run there, 3rd after being gelded. Another runner making its way into the race is Sacred Satona, and did finish 2nd in behind Wild Knight, but certainly didn't get favours with the draw.
Look, he didn't, and gee, I tell you what, if he'd drawn barrier number 3, it would have been really interesting, wouldn't it? Because I think he is a huge contender, but his barrier draw could just dictate where he finishes in the race now. his Bone Crusher win stacks up in terms of numbers. That is one of the highest rated 3-year-old races we've seen this season, and then you followed that up with the Uncle Remus. So he's been able to win that, and then his defeat behind Wild Knight. Yeah, just that barrier draw, isn't it, Leif? Yeah, it's a little bit tricky. I think they're going to go hard enough where the field should split out a little bit, and you got Michael on, and I know Grant Coxley's super happy how the horse is going.
Well, it's time to hear from their trainers. We'll start with Mark Walker again, and Aidan just asked him how happy he is with his 2 charges leading into the race.
Yeah, Dynastic, obviously he was a Karaka Millions winner last year, but he was just got too colty, so he's been gelded. I thought his run in the Auckland Guineas was really nice, and he'll improve out of that, which he needs to as well. There's some smart fillies in that race.
Yep, and in Wild Knight, his form has been absolutely top class, hasn't it?
Yeah, he galloped nicely last Friday at Tauranga, and he'll work again on Wednesday morning.
Definitely got the ability, you know, and his work this morning was good. I've just got to make that decision as well. Obviously, there's that. It's a super field. Probably one of the strongest we'll see in a long time, the 3-year-old. And then maybe the Evernow Guineas in the Derby. So I just got to be wary that this race on Saturday doesn't flatten her.
Yeah, no, very good, Aidan. I thought it worked at Tauranga the other day after race 1. It was very good. So she's bouncy and ready to go.
Yeah, she's been in fantastic form all season. What is it that makes her really tick?
Oh, I don't know. No, she's just got a, beautiful stride, lovely temperament, will to win, I suppose. What makes a good racehorse? I think there's 4 things make a good racehorse: ability, soundness, temperament, and constitution. And if you got all those 4, tick all those boxes, you've got a good horse. You got one of those missing, you're in trouble.
Well, he's certainly got some good horses in his stable. It's now time for selection. So have you put the ring around? Which camp are you in, BP?
Look, I think there's small margins between both horses, and that's what's going to really define this race. I'm going to go with Wild Knight. I really, as I said, there's nothing between both Wild Knight and Legato, but I'm happy just to take around that $2.80, maybe $3 price. It's going to be interesting to see where the fluctuations in market happen here. We've already seen Legato get out to that 250 zone. Does she get out further? Is it going to be a flip, or is it going to be her tightening and Wild Knight pushing out? So happy with the market sits at the moment with where his price is around that 280 mark, Wild Knight. I don't think there's much between them, but I thought was really taken by his performance in one of our strongest 3-year-old races in the Uncle Remus. I'm with Wild Knight just.
Yeah, I'm I've been a Legato fan since day one, and look, I think Barrier 1's going to be, I don't think it's not going to harm her. Like she's going to be following Wild Knight the whole race, and it's going to be a good race come race 6 at Counties, but I'm going Legato.
I'm in the same camp, Leith. She's just produced some of those absolutely stunning performances. The lead up to Rickett in itself, and then the 8 Carat. We saw her on Tuesday morning. She's in gorgeous order. It seems like they've been tracking Wild Knight everywhere. They work together. They have exhibition gallops together, and now they race against each other. It should be some clash, but I'm with the filly.
Time to have a look at race number 2 on the program. It is the Westbury Classic for the fillies and mares, and it is headed in the betting by Imperatriz, the Group 1 railway winner at $1.40. Only one other runner really in single figures, and that is Faithful Feet at $8. She's the clear-cut favourite, but gosh, she deserves to be. She does.
I mean, look, they bypassed going to the Telegraph. It was a chance to clash again with Levante, but they decided to not go that option. And this race just obviously sits better for them in her program. $1.40, good draw, Opie on. It's something we're going to say a lot about throughout the night, but yeah, I mean, she really does pick herself, doesn't she? Absolutely, she does. Let's have a look at the all-important speed. Faithful Feet, no one to get up on the pace. Drawn Barrier 1. Have you got it leading, Leith?
Yeah, I think she will lead from Barrier 1. Sam Spratt will get her out, and look, she runs at really nice sectionals, and look, there's a little speed outside Lady Morale and Tina again. Well, let's have a look at Imperatriz winning the Group 1 railway, and she had to do it coming off the speed, but boy, she was quality picking up Babylon Berlin in the piece. Yeah, and look what Babylon Berlin's done since again, you know, like that's the key around this race, is that she's backed it up, Babylon Berlin, and nearly pulled off another Group 1, only to be bombed this time by Levante.
And we know that she races so well in that fresh to second up state, Imperatriz, and that's what we got on this occasion when taking out the railway, and she was too good for them. And look, she's got a chance of taking a good sweet spot from barrier number 2. There's, as I said, it's everything about her really. She's $1.40 for a good reason, because she's a quality animal and she picks herself. She does, even though she's got 59 kilos on rating points, she's way up in the handicap. She should be having 63, but look, Opie will give her a good ride from barrier 2, so she looks the winner. Yeah, conditions really do suit her, don't they? And well, what sort of endorsement are we getting out of the Telegraph when we've seen Levante and Babylon Berlin run second and third? Against her, we've got Dragon Queen, who won this race last year, who was a contender. You go back to the Lisa Chittick Memorial at Matamata, she beat Dragon Queen by 6.5 lengths. So that was at 1,400 metres. Her record may be better at 12, but she's won 2 or 3 at 1,400 metres. And her only defeat at this distance was on a rain-affected track in the Tarzino Trophy in the spring. I think she's going very, very well. Her track work at Tauranga last Friday, first class, and yeah, she is clearly the horse to beat.
Well, the second favourite is Faithful Feet for Peter Locke, and he's got it ticking along nicely, because we'll take you back to her win. This is in the Group 3 J-Swap Sprint at Te Rapa. Now, it was on, obviously, a very rain-affected track, BP, but she did well. But look, is she in the same class as Imperatriz?
Well, she hasn't won a Group 1, so you'd probably have to say no, she isn't, but she's a horse that is, you know, in the right vein form right now. She is, you know, at her peak of her powers at present is Faithful Feet, because what she's done is she's won 2 races from terrible barrier draws, and she's just been able to find that front position. She won this race from barrier 16 and got to the front. She's not leading from barrier 1 here. She's had to do it hard, and she's got there with pure speed, and that's what's in her arsenal, is that she's a horse who can really get going. Yeah, and when these mares get into form, you know, she hasn't gone a bad race, and look, she's not very big, but she puts her ears back and has a real go, doesn't she? Yeah, she does.
She's had the edge over Dragon Queen in the last couple of meetings as well. She's been terrific. She's got that the gate speed to go with it, and real upside. I thought she might have been closer to Imperatriz in the market, to be honest.
Interesting, Aidan, or might be on the day. We'll find out as those markets are available. Let's have a look now at another runner from the Central District, so bringing in a different bit of form here. Hold the Press, but did make the way to Counties, picks up the win, and has Damien Lane on. Yeah, look, I like this horse. I think having a good sighter, right-handed around Pukekohe is key, because this was her first start going right-handed, and she did it well. She was really strong through the line, and she's got herself a good barrier draw. She can tuck in. She's got Damien Lane aboard. Look, if you don't like $1.40 about Imperatriz, you have to go searching for other options. There's going to be power plays. There's going to be chances to try and play exactas, Quinellas. This is that horse. I think this is the horse you can look in top 3 markets, or if you're looking to play an exacta or Quinella, that she can play a part in the race. I think she's a contender for sure. Hold the Press. I like what I've seen from her. Yeah, it was a good ride by Michael last start, and Damien Lane gets on, and you know he's a gun, isn't he? So he'll be looking to ride a winner somewhere at Counties on Saturday.
She's got very good form leading in, but can she beat Imperatriz with just a 3 kilogram pull in the weights? I don't think so.
Well, let's have a look at Imperatriz a little bit differently in the Group 1 Railway. We're going to take you back to some drone footage here and have a look at just what Opie Bosson does. And Leith, I'm going to go to you first, obviously, being a Group 1 jockey. What's going through your mind when you're kind of sitting in this position, and how good is it that Opie can just think like that and make the right moves?
Well, Opie can dictate where he wants to be. Look, he knew where Ryan was this day in Levante, and look, I don't think there was another jockey in the country that would have won on Imperatriz this day.
Yeah, and look, he just seems to have time. He's got, we all know why he's so good at his job, but it's been able to do it time after time after time, isn't it? And that's what he does. He delivers in the big moments.
Well, you only have to go back to last Saturday at Wellington, Cognito. It was a gun ride from one of the outside gates, and he ended up on the rails. And look, he looked like he was going to get held up for a little bit, and the gates just opened for him. That's what Opie does.
Yeah. And the difference this time round, it's not barrier 10 for Imperatriz, it's barrier 2. We know she can settle close, as you know, she can be right on speed. So, you know, you take away all that that you said about Opie. The horse has got a better barrier and should be taking advantage no matter what this time round.
And we'll talk to her trainer very shortly as well, Mark Walker. We're going to catch up with a couple of trainers, but we'll start with him and just asked him how Imperatriz has come through that win in the Railway.
No, really well. We just felt the spacing was better with her with 3 weeks, and this just fits in better for Te Rapa as well. So, no, we're very happy with her. She went to Tauranga for the day out on Friday, and, you know, everything's gone well.
Yeah, it was pretty close last year. It was pretty nerve-wracking, but yeah, Taiki got the job done, so dearly love to win it for him again this year. He was a big part of her. She's spot on to where she was last year, if not a bit bigger and stronger. She carries probably a little bit more weight, but you know, same result for her last start at Te Rapa. She gets back right-handed. Her work this morning was she's flying, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we get a nice draw. I'm getting a bit sick of drawing the outside with her, but a nice draw just sees her thereabouts, and it's a race that she loves.
Okay, and she worked with Tavia, who also heads to the same race. How's she going?
Yeah, she was good. She's got the blinkers on, dropping back to 14. Yeah, she was good enough this morning. She's got very laid back in her work, and she's just a different animal this time in, and she can knock off just a little bit, but when Jake asked her this morning, she picked up and ran to the line really nicely.
She's very well. We've got her as well as we can have her. This will probably be her last season, so we're hoping for, you know, a big win to seal her broodmare career this year. So yeah, I'm excited. I don't know if we can take on the Te Akau horse, but hopefully.
Yeah, so Rosemary Carter bought her on Gavel House. She's had 2 starts for us, so 2 wins, which is great. She's in foal, so we thought we'd have her throw out the stumps. It's going to be a good race, the likes of Imperatriz, but she hasn't got black type, and she deserves a crack before going to the paddock.
And it's now time for selections, and BP will go to you. Pretty hard to go past Imperatriz.
Look, it is, isn't it? And as I said during this preview, it's about trying to find a power play that might be in your wheelhouse, and there'll be a number of those, and Exacta. Look, Faithful Feet ran second in the race last year, and you've got a great chance of doing so again. So it's all about Imperatriz and just trying to find, if you're liking a Hold the Press to run a place or a Faithful Feet. But Imperatriz, if you're looking for a top selection, is the one for me.
Yeah, I'm going to Imperatriz. She looks the one from the draw. She's in good at the weights. Yeah, maybe Faithful Feet. She's boosted, I think, for top 2.
Yep, add me to the list, fellas, on with Imperatriz as well. I've got to say I didn't think she'd be 140, but it's the type of horse that we ride in the wheelhouse of the BGP boys, won't it? So 140, I don't think we'll put them off.
We're now going to have a look at race number 3 on the program, the Almanzor, and we do see the return of Pierre up against Maven Bell, so $3. Maven Bell favourite at 2.2, and then everything else out to double figure odds. Again, do you agree with the market? Maven Bell favourite over the Group 1 winner Pierre, BP?
Yeah, I do. I mean, Maven Bell's had a run under the belt. 1,200 metres will be suitable where Pierre's got 60 kilos and he's coming back fresh up, but gee, I don't want to discount him. I don't want to underestimate him as well, because we know how good he is. So, yep, I think the market's, yeah, that's about right, isn't it, Leif?
Yeah, I think so. You know, Pierre's got the 60 kilos, but he's got the good draw. I wouldn't be surprised if he does win, but I think it's more of a sort of stepping stone to Sydney.
And as the speed map, Leith, where have you got the mapping?
Yeah, I see a lot of speed in the race. Beautiful Spirit and Cover Me in Sunshine probably leading. So, yeah, Opie's probably going to get back a little bit, but I think they're going to go hard enough in this race.
Well, let's take you back to the 2,000 guineas with Pierre picking up the Group 1 win, and he really had to fight for this too, BP.
He did. Look, and it was a super effort. It was a really good effort by Pierre. And look, the writing was on the wall, wasn't it, with how he won 2 starts ago when he was able to win the Hawke's Bay Guineas. It just showed that, you know, how good this horse is, and he got the business done because he really had to find here, because Desert Lightning's going up to win the race, and he's fought him off like a good horse. So yeah, great to have him back, and I'm looking forward to seeing him come back for this preparation, as you said, Leith, towards that Sydney prep.
Yeah, he's never run a bad race, hasn't he? And his racing manners have improved every time, and look, he'll give them a shake.
Well, let's have a look at Maven Bell. Now, she picked up a win recently at Counties, and it was just this month as well. Opie aboard her on this occasion. Look, she's come up with barrier number 11, so he's going to have to work his magic over the 1,200 metres.
Yeah, he will, but like Leith said, there's enough speed in this race, and in the way that Opie was able to ride her on this occasion, I'm guessing it's going to be something very similar. A little bit of speed on sit back, because really, she's crushed them here. She's just sat back and just put them away with a very good turn of foot.
Yeah, the best thing about this, she's come home in 32 seconds, 32.72, and Opie was pretty easy on her, and it was just like a barrier trial, really. And I think if she comes out of that race and improves, she looks the one to beat.
One thing we did hear from the team at Te Akau this week was her work on Tuesday may have been a little bit below par, and we'll get a reflection of that in the upcoming interview. We'll hear from Mark Walker. But obviously she's high class. She's a Group 1 winner. She's won, 5 of 6. Her resuming performance, very, very good. Comes up against a Group 1 winner like Pierre, who was devastating the Hawke's Bay Guineas a couple of starts back. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Again, it's one of those races on the night that might be a bit of a head-to-head, but it might be a little bit more open than that as well.
Yeah, well, there is another Mark Walker runner we do want to highlight for you, and it's a Bella Mio here who's picked up back-to-back wins. This one on a heavy 10 at Matamata too, so might appreciate getting back on top of the ground. Yeah,
look, and I thought on this occasion Grayson Gray looked to be travelling well, and as you said, the ground is key here because it was a heavy 10 surface. Grayson Gray was in front and has been run down here, and Grayson Gray's a horse who, she's a nice enough 3-year-old. I think she's a horse that will be better for this run and better suited to the track conditions. I thought she might have been a nice roughie in the race if you're looking for that top 3, top 4 market, but what did you make of those two there, Leith?
Yeah, both of them, it was a good effort, wasn't it? Both home track. Yeah, I think she was okay last year in some better 2-year-old races, and I can't see her beating Marvin Bell, but yeah, they'll be there.
There's some really nice runs in behind, and the track conditions, I think you've just got to sort of put them aside a little bit. Certainly Grayson Gray and I Choose You ran in some really good races last time. Bella Mio might be a sense of timing. She's in really good form. All of them bubbling away just beneath that top couple, I think.
Well, it's time to hear for some key connections in the Almanzor, and we're going to start with Briar Weatherly, and Aidan just asked her how she thinks Pierre's going to go over the 1,200 metres.
Oh, look, I think over any distance, you know, he's got an electric turn of foot, you know. I think he's going to be competitive over any distance. I think, you know, fresh up, I think he should run a good race.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to have great respect around him. Maven Bell, sometimes the only niggle in the back of your mind after a long layoff and then a 2-week turnaround, sometimes they just haven't quite got that freshness about them, and her work was only okay this morning, but she can do that at times. She just seems to bring her A game to the races.
Time to put the heat on the chopping block again, BP. We'll start with you. Who have you found on top?
Yeah, look, one thing I will say about this race, if you do like Pierre, you could play the waiting game here because there's a high chance Maven Bell will get played, and it might be a well-played horse for whatever reason. But as we've mentioned before, when BGP are involved here, they might be wanting to have a bet on Maven Bell, and if they do, does that mean that Pierre gets to a price that could be backable, $3.50 or something like that? So I'll just be watching the markets here if you do like Pierre, because I don't think there's much between them. Maven Bell was just so electric first up. You always query second up if they can do it again or go something close to it. But, gee, with what we saw, speed on, good barrier draw, because I think they'll go back and try and produce something similar with Maven Bell. And I think Grayson Gray, a top 4 market if you're looking for something else.
Yeah, I'm going to go Maven Bell. I think, you know, the way she won last start, I think she'll come out of the race and she'll improve. I wouldn't be surprised, though, like you said, Pierre is a super racehorse. I wouldn't be surprised if he does shake her from the inside draw.
Great to see this Group 1 clash, isn't it? Again, 2 very high-class horses. I'm with Maven Bell, yeah, despite what we heard there from Mark Walker, just about the track work maybe not being up to her peak. But she brings it race day. She should be unbeaten in 6. Remember, she was so unlucky in the Group 1 Diamond Stakes at Ellerslie. She should be 6 from 6, and she should be making it 7, had it been that way, this weekend.
Going to have a look at race number 5 on the card now. It is the Concord, the open handicap over the 1,200 metres. And we've got a couple of horses heading at the betting. Malt Time at 4.2, Bonnie Lass at 4.50 in the market. Green Aeon, who's been great, at $6 so far in the country, and Synchronised too at $5. This race closes Saturday at 6.48. If they got it right, it's a pretty open affair this time, BP.
It is, and what I like about this is we've got our chance to, you know, open the shoulders if you like something, because there is some value around this market. We don't have a $1.40 favourite. We've got ourselves a very compressed market with Malt Time the favourite. Synchronised so good when producing that scintillating fresh up victory, and Bonnie Lass at 4.50 we know has that Group 1 quality as well because of what she's shown through her last couple of seasons. So yep, good field.
Well, Leith, it's over the 1,200 metres, so who have you got injecting the speed?
Yeah, I think Rose and Power from Barrier 1 will be the natural leader. There is a lot of speed in the race. Johnny from Barrier 14, they'll probably, he may end up outside the leader. Green Aeon will be right there from Barrier 3, and Bonnie Lass, I think they'll have to go forward with the 60 kilos.
Well, Bonnie Lass, as you mentioned, she is one of the ones we want to highlight for you first. We're going to take you back to her recent trial. Now, this is on December the 23rd on a heavy dyne. She finishes 4th here. Aidan, might go to you first. What did you make of this run?
She's gone super. She's trolled up very well. She's a winner of 6 of 12. Just so disappointing to see her come out of the railway. But she's improved ever since. We saw her work on Tuesday morning, and boy, she was terrific. Obviously, I'm going to be very, very biased on this, lads, even with the 60 and the wide draw. She's the one.
Aidan, I will come to you. Do you think positivity from Craig Grills here to be able to take a good spot and try and land in that position of forward and running?
Yeah, as Leith said, they will go a little bit, and she's got that tricky barrier draw. So she's got to find the right spot. She's won from wide draws and from wide runs in the past as well. The ideal thing is you get a little bit of cover, maybe sort of 3 out and 2 back, but that is the query, and obviously just with her missing that railway run. But she's got real quality. Hoof pads go on, blinkers on, but she's in very, very good order.
Well, Mold Time is a runner that we want to have a look at. Kept safe enough in the market as well. Finished 5th in the railway. BP, what did you make of the run in transit?
Yeah, look, Molt Time's a horse that, look, if you break down what we've seen here, and we've spoken a lot about this race already. I mean, you've got yourselves the Quinella from the Telegraph, you've got Imperatriz winning, who is a $1.40 favourite earlier on in the program. So everything's good about this particular race and this run from Molt Time. She's shown that she's stakes quality because she's already won a stakes race as preparation. It's all about just trying to find that right race to have a serious bet on her, because she just looks to be a horse that's going to pick up something decent. I was a little surprised, Leith, that she came up as the favourite in the race at around that $4.20 mark, but I can also understand why, because as I said, she's got that pure ability. But your thoughts around her and her chances?
I think the key to her is getting back on a good track, a good 3. And look, she's got the draw where they like riding her a little bit quiet, and it does look like a little speed in the race.
Really, really good run that day, and obviously she's beaten home Johnny. She does go up a little bit in weight, but you go back 3 and 4 starts and was winning, really nicely. She's a mare with a lot of upside, real respect around her.
Well, it's time again to hear from some key trainers, and we're going to start with Graham Richardson with Bonnie Lass. And Aidan, just ask how her condition is leading into the race.
Look, she'll just improve with this run, and it doesn't mean she can't win. It'll be very interesting to see how much weight she gets. Yeah, it's sort of with the Concord being so close to the Telegraph, there's going to be horses that aren't nominated, and she may end up top weight, and that's a big concern for me. She's not a big mare. She's strong, but she's not a big mare. But her work, as I said this morning, was good. She's sound, and obviously I'm happy in that sense.
He galloped yesterday as well up at Pukekohe. He's going terrific. He had to carry the 60 kilos last start. He'll get in a lot better here, and look, he'll be ultra competitive yet again.
Oh, they're going nicely. They went to Tauranga for a day out and a gallop on last Friday, and they worked nicely this morning.
Yeah, she's going really well. Look, she's a mare that I've always had a lot of time for, and I think she should get her chance. Just hopefully she's been drawing wide gates lately, not having a lot of luck. So if she can get a barrier, I think she'll be very competitive.
Well, one of the more open fields on the evening. So who have you found on top? Are you going against a favourite?
Yeah, I think it's a race where you can try and look for something and a little bit of value, and that little bit of something for me is Green Aeon. Really good draw, can take a spot just off speed. We know the horse can go forward. We saw how the horse won 2 starts ago, and look, was a courageous run last time out to finish into 3rd position. Now the horse has got just the 53 kilograms, comes back after having 58.5 last time out when beaten by Synchronise. Just thought this horse positioned up nicely with the barrier draw, and yeah, happy to be playing around the $8 mark. I think you're the same.
Yeah, I am, Brendan. Look, I think both his starts since he's come back from Hong Kong have been super. And look, he's got the perfect gait to just sort of sit outside the leader or just behind the speed. And 53 kilos is going to be a big plus.
It's interesting, that dynamic, that change from the Hallmark handicap when we just had the 80 horses, like El Vencedor comes in a kilogram better than Green Aeon, but you know, Synchronise not so well, neither Fashion Shoot, but in the end it doesn't matter about weights, we just go to the top of the book, pick out Bonnie Lass and hope that she wins the Concord with a leg in the air.
Now time to have a look at the Karaka Cup, and it is race number 1 to start us off on Karaka Million night, and leading the betting is Tutakaka at $2.80, Soprano Supreme at $3.80, and then you've got 2 other runners in the market, Z Falls at $5.50, Zagunto at 7s with Contemplation. Well, Tutakaka was great when winning last time at Taupo, and the money was certainly on too, BP.
Gee, was it what? It was probably one of the biggest goes of Christmas, and I'm sure a lot of people got paid as well over that period, but you might have ended up with just some of the chump change that was left over, because some of that big price went rather quickly. It was just good to see him back in form, because we know how good he is. He was a really good 3-year-old, and if he's back in that same sort of form, and look to be the case with how he won last start, it's going to be hard to beat again.
Do you agree, Lee?
Yes, I have a little bit of a question mark just with the 60 kilos, even though he's a big, strong horse. Look, there's plenty of speed in the race. But we're going to look at his work on Monday, and his work was first class, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Even since opening, Tutakaka opened at 3:30. Yeah, they've already found that they've got so much left over from last time. They can spare a little bit here, and maybe that's just their opening bets as well, because it might really start coming for Tutakaka, who was superb at Taupo.
Well, one that's slightly better at the weights is Z Falls for Stephen Marsh. We're going to take a look at the last start performance. This is 3rd in the Queen Elizabeth Cup, and look, it was a really nice performance.
Look, and she's been chipping away in these type of races, and that's why she has to be a chance in this race. You know, with the 56 kilograms and getting 4 kilos off Tutakaka, and how she's run in all of these type of races. You know, you go back to Fielding Cups and Counties Cups and all those type of races to say that, you know, she's a chance at around that $5 mark, Lee.
Yeah, she's going super races, isn't she? You know, she's going to get the trip, and you know, it's probably it's a little bit of a class drop down from last time.
Well, Tutakaka, you did mention having that exhibition gallop, so we'll have a look at it with Rapid Falls, and Leith, you mentioned this was really good work. Why is that?
Look, Rapid Falls, she's a really lazy sort of horse, but he had his head on his chest, you know, as he did at Taupo when he won. So, look, he's striding out well, and you know, obviously Michael's wrapped with him. He's stayed with him.
Yeah, just something about him, isn't it, Leith? I mean, you know him well enough as well from the times that you've ridden him, that if he's back to his best form, and they've obviously worked it out that he is, he seems to be in great health at the moment.
Well, he probably should have won the Karaka Mile last year. I just couldn't get out, and he got out late and hit the line. And since then, he's been to Australia, went to Brisbane, and you know, things didn't go right over there. But look, he looks like he's back in top form.
Yeah, I think that's the key, isn't it? We see him come through that Taupo Cup, run really well. He hadn't really been able to string them together in the past, but maybe just in that right sort of zone to do it. Tony Pikes won this race a couple of times. He won it last year with Rapid Falls, we saw in that exhibition gallop, and also with Chanel back in 2017, and Tutakaka looks to be the horse to add a 3rd.
Well, another runner that's got a chance in the race, there has to be Contemplation, was in great form before that last start failure, and look, had a gallop here. What did you make of this run, BP?
Yeah, well, look, the horse was very good, as you said, in the run. We're not getting a lot of favours last time out, and has had a good hit out here in an exhibition gallop on Monday. I mean, look, he's a runner that's had, what, 20 starts for a couple of victories, and unlucky on a lot of occasions. What sort of chances do you give him?
Yeah, I really rate him. I think, you know, he's got 54 kilos, and every start he's a progressive stayer. He was very unlucky last start at Te Rapa, and look, if there is one to beat Tutakaka, I think it's him.
Yeah, he was luckless last time, wasn't he? And you go back 3 starts, and he's won. He's been second to Soprano Supreme, who's another race rival, and comes in a kilogram from that meeting. So there's enough upside around Contemplation for minus.
And you just mentioned Soprano Supreme. This is the 3rd most recently. Illicit Miss, obviously 5th, a couple of Tiako's runners. Yeah,
look, and this was in behind a Derby winner, and Soprano Supreme's a horse that, look, if it's a genuine race with Sagunto in the race, I mean, we know he's going to probably try and open them up and break their hearts, Sagunto, because that's the way he's been racing at the moment. Soprano Supreme is a horse who'll be looking to try and finish strongly over the top.
Yeah, look, it was only a mile that day, so they're just there for a bit of a nice, day out, knowing that this race was their main goal.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to do it again. Selections time. Tutakaka for you, BP.
It is, yes. I think he's the one to be able to kick off the night. I am wary of Segundo. I will say that. I'm just worried that, does he just keep on running? Because of his last couple of efforts, he's only been nailed late when finishing into second position. But overall, I'm with the horse that might be able to close and run down Segundo, so I'll go with Tutakaka. You?
I think Tutakaka is probably the one they have to beat, but I think come Saturday race 1, I think he's going to be a $2 favourite, and I just think Contemplation could be a good each way bet.
Okay, interesting. I agree with BP. I think Segundo is probably the horse that Tutakaka's got to beat, just the way that they'll map. There's a fair chance that Finn McCool goes forward and really serves it up to Segundo, and they'll let their horse go, but around the 1,000-metre mark, Segundo they'll be putting the pedal down, and then it's just up to Tutakaka to bringing the form from Taupo, from bringing the form from that gallop at Pukekohe on Tuesday, on Monday, and he'll be winning, I'm pretty sure.
Well, there you have it. Hopefully we've found you a winner in all of the 6 races. Arguably one of the best nights in racing. It all kicks off 4:09, race number 1. If you're not on track, make sure you're tuning in to Trackside.
Sandwave digging in. The little fella's finding. Sandwave too good. He wanted.
Zebediah and Mark Twain from last is joining in, but Mark Twain. Tenzing raced up on the outside of Linda Lola on. He strode clear. Tenzing's raced on for a big win.
But Defibrillate has got the Cambridge Studs Seville Classic all parcelled up. Denby Road's a length and a half away, can't get him. Udurzo won the last, Denby Road was second. Here's Lightning Jack, OK, Powell, the Radiant one. Boyd's in front of the Haslet. Corey Campbell punches him out. Boyd is brilliant.
High View Bruce and Allegro Love are not in it. Big Time Oreo humming in front, and the win from L's Loaded High View Toby.
It's time for our best bets. We had some highs and lows over the holiday season, so we're hoping to kick the new year off in a winning form. Start with you, Leith. Who are you liking this weekend?
Look, I really like Marvin Bell, race 3, number 2. Look, I think she's come back pretty good, and going off her last run, I think she's the one to beat on Saturday.
I'm going to go to the last race and what looks to be the top billing for the night. I'm going to go with Wild Knight as my best bet. There's nothing between both Wild Knight and Legato. It'll be small margins, but I just really like what I've seen from him, and he's a horse that just captures the eye when you look at him in the parade, and I think he's worthy of a bet at around the $2.80. I'll make him my best.
I'm going to open this off to ridicule a little bit at the 140, but I'm going to stick with the same colours and shoot for that flashing star with Imperatriz. And I see the Boys Get Paid have already done the same thing. $80,000 multi Tutakaka Imperatriz into a boosted price of Maven Bell to win $1 million.
Oh, that's some tasty dividends. The bookies will be sweating. I'm going on Sunday to Coolabah Kids, so if you had a fill up on Saturday, you might want to load up on him. He's in race number 8. He comes up with the ace. He's consistently really good out of the boxes. I think he's the best dog in the field. He's a recent downgrader, and I'm happy to play him as my best bet for the weekend. So here's a summary of the best bets. The Wales jump back in. He's with Melsadale as well at Alexandra Park on Friday in race number 6. Justin with Specialty at Gore on Saturday. Bevan with Testify Me at Trentham on Saturday. And there's a summary of Aiden's, Leith, mine and BP's with Wild Knight, of course, and the best race on the evening at Karaka Million. Well, that concludes the show. Thanks very much for joining us, BP, Aiden and Leith. We hope you enjoy all of the action on Saturday. I'm sure you will. Good luck to all connections.